Moving into the night slate on Friday night, it's the Texas A&M Aggies taking on the Texas Longhorns. This game's 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. I'm from Dallas-Fort Worth. I love this rivalry, always have, and it will be an honor to be on the call alongside Sean McDonough and Molly McGrath. This is a bucket list game for me. As a kid, grew up watching it on Thanksgiving and the week of Thanksgiving. This game is as big as it gets, and to have the opportunity to call it is just the thrill of a lifetime. So grateful for the opportunity. It is the Lone Star Showdown, which, by the way, I did not know it was called that until last year. I grew up just calling it Texas A&M, and or Texas A&M, Texas, depending on what side of the rivalry you're on. So should be awesome. I can't wait. We all know what's at stake in this game. The Aggies trying to cap off an undefeated season, trying to punch their ticket to the SEC championship game for the first time, and to try to secure a first-round bye in the college football playoff. For the Texas Longhorns, they have 3 losses. They sit there at 8-3. Is there a path in victory to get them into the college football playoff conversation? Perhaps. Are they at the mercy of what happens in front of them? Absolutely. But I do think if they can somehow win this game, there is an argument to be made on the Longhorns' behalf. It's going to be thrilling, and I can't wait to be there in Austin for it. Question number 1, can A&M's offense continue its remarkable balance? When you watch A&M, they are so much fun to watch on offense. I love what Colin Klein, their offensive coordinator, has done. I love how they try to commit to the run while acknowledging that their most dynamic weapons are probably at wide receiver. And their quarterback has yet to really been used as a real run threat. He's done it, but it's not really a huge part of his game right now. But I think in gotta-have-it situations, as this offense continues to evolve in the playoffs, in the SEC title, I think Marcel Reed, his ability to keep you honest with his legs, is going to become a real focal point of what this offense develops into. Look, the A&M running back depth, there are some questions there. A couple guys banged up, so I would check the injury report. If a Le'Veon Moss might be able to return, what that could do for A&M's offense, because we know that Colin Klein wants to lean on this offensive line. He wants to lean on this rushing attack, but they are running into a really good rush defense for the Texas Longhorns. So in that scenario in which the run game is for the most part ineffective, how much will the short passes, catch and runs, all those other things, how much will that be a factor in how Colin Klein tries to attack Pete Kwiatkowski's defense? This is just a great matchup of good versus good as far as the personnel is concerned. Question number 2, can Texas's pass rush affect Marcel Reed? Look, Texas, they have one of the best pass rushes in the country. They are really well distributed too amongst their key personnel, which makes your protection very complex. Because, for example, if I dedicate all my resources in protection to slowing down Colin Simmons, well, guess what? There's still Anthony Hill that can come off the other side. There's still Ethan Burke. There's still Brad Spence. There's still a bunch of other guys that can beat you. So you can't focus too much of your attention on one guy. If you do, then you potentially leave the other side open to potentially be taken advantage of. So I think that's going to be very, very interesting, is that Texas, they don't have a concentration of talent. They can create substantial pressure without blitzing, and they can do it with a bunch of different bodies. And the Texas A&M offensive line, they are fantastic. I mean, if you look at their performance this year, the depth that they have, the continuity that they have, you can just tell these guys have played a lot of football together. And it shows. They have tremendous depth. And if you look at the sacks, they've allowed just 11 this year. They've had several games, at least 5, where they had 0 sacks given up, which says an awful lot when you take into account some of the pass rushes that they've had to face. And really, they just had one bad game, and that was against Auburn when they gave up 4 of those 11 sacks. So you can anticipate Colin Klein utilizing some chip blocks with their running backs, utilizing their tight ends to just help out those tackles a little bit and run some delayed routes off of it. So if you use those backs and tight ends to chip and kind of momentarily obstruct the path of these elite edge rushers, then that can do a lot to create a bit of a countermeasure against a very aggressive front. You also are going to potentially have to use the screen game a little bit, which is a really solid tool against an aggressive rush. And they have the weapons at wide receiver and at running back and at tight end from time to time to utilize the screen game, and you can also utilize maximum protection schemes. So you want 7 guys in protection, no problem. The other thing that helps A&M in this scenario is the constant threat of Marcel Reed taking off and burning you like he did against the LSU Tigers on the first touchdown of the game. So his legs will always calm down the pass rush a little bit, but the offensive line will be tested in this game, but they have been up to the test throughout most of the season. Question number 3, can the Aggie passing game continue to be super efficient? Look, Marcel Reed's been very efficient this year. And while I think a big part of it, if you can keep the pressure off of him, that will help. He has at times been willing to take some chances with the football that are not always the smartest decisions. But I think when you think about protecting him and making sure that the passing game is protected as well, it's not so much about lost yardage, but it's about possibly creating short fields for the Longhorn offense, because he will potentially throw into traffic. Now, he'll make some mistakes. There's a reason why Texas A&M is 109th in turnover margin at -5. But if he's making great decisions, then the Aggies have arguably the most dynamic receiving threats in the SEC, with Mario Craver, who is incredible, and Casey Concepcion, who's been incredible as well. It's a bit of a pick your poison dilemma at wide receiver, because both guys have outrageous speed. And Craver, for example, I mean, he exploded early in the year. He went for over 200 against Notre Dame. However, defenses, they've kind of adjusted, and then we've seen them start to utilize, maybe in some cases, some bracket coverage to prevent giving him the possible home run ball. And if they bracket him, then guess what? Guess who's in one-on-one? That means Casey Concepcion is in one-on-one. As a result, you've seen that bracket lead to a slight dip in production over the last handful of games, but that's going to be a big key. Will Texas dedicate more resources to one receiver over the other, or do they just kind of balance things out and just create one-on-ones with help on both guys? That's a huge question going into the game, because if you look at Concepcion, he actually leads the team in touchdowns. He leads the team in receiving yards, and he should probably be positioned as the kind of the intermediate vertical throws and try to leverage some of the attention that Craver might deploy. So Texas's secondary, which by the way has not been great this year, they're giving up nearly 250 a game. They're triple digits in passing yards allowed. They haven't been as good in the back end as they've been in years past, but it all starts really with the pass rush to take some of the pressure off their coverage guys in the back end. Question 4, how much will Texas commit to running the football? Because Texas's run game has not been great this year, just over 120 yards a game. And they're going against a really good run defense, and A&M, it's top 25 unit. So you got to use the run game, though, to keep the pass rush honest. So Quintravion Wisner, he's got to be used functionally. You can't expect to just gash him for 250 on the ground. That feels pretty unlikely. But you got to, on first down, hand it, just so that A&M defense isn't dedicating 100% of their focus on creating pressure against Arch Manning. That's the one thing about this A&M defense. They have given up a few chunk runs. They're an aggressive group, and as a result, sometimes their aggressiveness has been used against them. They've given up 49 carries that have gone for 10-plus yards. That's 67th. Remember, this is a top 25 run defense statistically, but they have given up 10-plus yard runs on 49 separate occasions. That ranks 67th. They've also given up 16 carries of 20-plus yards. That's 94th. So might not be the need to kind of drive and paper cut with the rushing attack. It might require just 1, 2, maybe 3 big runs, and then the approach defensively from A&M might have to adjust. Question number 5. Can Texas find the answers against the nation's best third down defense? A&M's third down defense, which allows just 21% conversion, is insane. Guys, they are unbelievable on third down. It's so much fun to watch them. They are so aggressive. Their schemes are amazing. They have incredible personnel that can rush the quarterback. Cassius Howell's a game wrecker. They have a few other guys that can also take over the game as well. So Texas cannot live in third and long. They have to be able to generate positive yardage on first and second down to create manageable third and short, third and medium opportunities. It'll also require their offensive line to hold up in protection, because anytime you lose yardage on first and 10, now you're behind the sticks. Now you're in trouble, because that third down defense, when it gets on the field, you might as well punt. It's just, they're that good. So you better be mindful of that if you are the Texas Longhorns. And then question 6, can Arch deliver a signature performance? Now, in the last 4 games, he's quietly starting to play at a really high level. Now, a lot of people will point to, well, who was it against? I think Georgia's pretty good defense. And if you look at his touchdown interception ratio in the last 4 games, he's got 11-2 touchdown interception ratio. We haven't seen him run as much the last few games. Remember, he had the concussion against Mississippi State. And since that game, we haven't seen much as far as the quarterback scramble or design quarterback run or zone read pulls. We haven't seen much from him there, but it's always in there. And it does feel like his confidence level is steadily getting to the point where he could deliver a performance for the ages. So we'll see if Arch can deliver a signature performance, which he'll have to do if Texas wants to win the game. Then that will be very interesting as well. I will not make a pick, but once again, I continue to reiterate, this is an honor to call this football game, and I look forward to being there alongside Sean McDonough and Molly McGrath from Austin.